matters, some of which we've been talking about already, but we'll seek to expand it and bring in a lot more in terms of other opinions from experts from elsewhere. But gentlemen, you had thoughts to share about the pharmacy council, if I can call it.
It is you. You want to share your comment. You want to put your comment in our mouth to say that.
Oh, I will have no basis to. No, if you so do not wish, let's proceed on the speaker. On the speaker.
No, you were here gleefully announcing to people that you want to talk about condoms. Kuzo Tiani said no, let's talk about more important things. He said no, this is the most important matter you want to talk about. Now you are coming to ask us. So you talk about your matter.
All right. So
how do you buy your condom?
If it is so that the both of you have changed your mind upon because I saw your reaction and you were giving me signals. If it is so that you no longer are interested in a conversation in that manner,
no, but I voice, I think the guy, the man, what's his name? The last caller, what's his name again?
Razako. It started with an R.
I think he sums up the concerns of Abiam and
the name,
Crosby.
I don't know why you're always trying to put something into tagging people along on different subject matters. This is on the back of the latest numbers.
Abiam, you cannot relate.
From the National HIV Control Program, right? And this is not the first time I'm actually seeing them raise the concern about
boys not buying condoms.
Failure, no, not buying condoms, but condom usage. Perhaps we should get the guys on as well, because this vending machines they speak about as well. How is that going to operate? How is that going to work? Machines placed, or they will have personnel.
No. You haven't seen some before. In my training as a peer-to-peer educator, I've seen all those things. It's like this
vending machine.
Vending machine. They just put it portable. It's portable. They attach it to the wall. The ones I have seen, it's stuck to the wall. Then you press somewhere. The thing drops down, then you pick it.
The Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
Oh, okay.
I saw a comment like that KNUST has some.
Okay. And I've actually, I think there's one, I don't know whether it's broken, at the prison officers'
mess. Right, so actually that's been confirmed that there is one at KNUST. There's a vending machine there.
Yes. But where is it located? It's usually the problem. Because the one I know at the prison officers' mess, it's in the washroom, kind of. When you are going to the washroom, it's there but you see, it's a male and female washroom. And if we are talking about people being shy and all of that, you are going to the washroom, so it means that you want to quickly press the thing, then the thing go for you, go pick them up very fast, then you run into the washroom and come back as if you want. Why are we doing this to ourselves? But must I be bold?
These and many more are the concerns because people are not using it, and the HIV numbers. 15,000 is it recorded in 2024, and there's been the concern as well that condom usage has been dropping amongst a lot of young people even before this report was made or was laid bare yesterday, and the subsequent interventions. I'll be curious to find out from them the vending machines, how many they are seeking to put across, in which areas as well they are seeking to put these vending machines, and beyond it, what more in terms of can be done, because we cannot lose the young population to reckless.
No, I think we need to intensify the peer-to-peer engagement. I did these programs. I was on these programs under my church, the Catholic Church.
Right.
Had a lot of programs on peer-to-peer education, especially when HIV was a topical discussion of the day, where where they trained young people, so they'll pick us young people, train us, and then deploy us to engage other youth groups within the church. And I think it was an effective tool. The vending machine is a good idea. I mean, it first of all, it allows the free distribution of condoms. But the ones I have seen mostly are the male condoms. I'm not sure that the female condoms are prioritized. And maybe that's another angle we should look at in terms of the communication, that the emphasis should not just be on the male condom, so that if the male is not using the condom, the female will use the condom. At least one of them would use the condom. But the emphasis has always been on the male condom, and I think probably that's also one of the problems. So the vending machine is a good idea, but a lot of people, the same reason people will not go into the pharmacy to buy a condom, the same reason people will not patronize the vending machine, and mostly it depends on where the vending machine is located. But I think that we should put more focus on the peer-to-peer education. Look, the University of Ghana, there was a program there. They said they went to share condoms. And people did not want, this was at the city house.
Right.
People did not want to
be seen
collecting. It's free. You see, at the end of the program, the guys just, okay, we have condoms here, you pick it up. And boys were withdrawing. So you would see a few girls, laughing, they are mocking themselves, then they pick it up.
The giggles, and then they pick it up.
But I think people are simply too shy. It's not because they don't need it or they don't use it, but they don't want to be seen. I don't know how there's stigma on sex. They don't want to be seen picking condom. Then it would mean that everybody knows what you are going to do. Okay, so I think that we need to emphasize the peer-to-peer education. We pick a few young men at the university. They become ambassadors within the university community itself. They are moving from lecture room to lecture room, from hall to hall, like the way we campaign for JCR and SRC and departmental positions. We can do that. And they will move and spread the word, encourage more people, and then distribute. If we are fixing vending machines too, then we should put them at places that if I enter to collect one, people shouldn't obviously see that I am collecting one. Then I would not go, because then the impression is like, okay, we know what he's going to do. But I don't want people to know what I'm going to do.
I think in a broad aspect as well, this also ties into sex education and the conversations we have, because the younger persons will engage in the activity, but
it doesn't want to be seen.
Exactly. And so will rather go about it discreetly than go about it when you have to go through the entire process of trying to get a condom. And then sometimes in these pharmacies, and I understand what the guy said, not even with respect to the ladies he was talking about, who, if you enter a pharmacy and you're a lot younger and you're trying to get a condom, and then there's a possibility the pharmacist can ask, hey, what are you going to do?
A lot younger. Even if I enter to buy a condom, then the person is looking at me,
no, I'm even.
But you are married. Why are you buying a condom?
Even in communities, right? Even in particularly pharmacists in communities, right, where the pharmacist might know your parent or something. That becomes a challenge. That becomes an inhibiting.
No, they won't buy.
It becomes an inhibiting factor for you to want to walk there, and want to
in
buy.
Typical communities where everybody knows everybody.
Exactly. And so that will also mean that they are not buying. And outside of avoiding pregnancy, you also avoid a lot of STDs as well as a result of wearing protection.
Charlie, that is why my church would preach. We had a ABC. ABC, abstinence. B was what, be careful or something. The C, I've forgotten. Charlie, it's many years ago.
Yeah.
My church, we had that abstinence.
Right.
You see, my church emphasizes abstinence.
The church has always emphasized abstinence.
We don't believe in contraceptives generally. Abstain if you are not qualified, if you are not married. Right. In the eyes of the Catholic Church, if you are not married, you shouldn't be having sex. If you are even married and you have not done the needful,
be faithful and then chastity.
Be faithful and chastity.
Yeah.
Was it Kunzo who said that?
Yeah, I think he's
Kunzo.
Kunzo has proven you wrong.
Kunzo. Kunzo, which of them are you?
On that score. Please proceed on.
No, Kunzo is abstaining, I know.
Yeah.
I know. He's doing well.
Now you've forgotten what it is that you were saying.
No, I've not forgotten. I'm just giving Kunzo some flowers. I bet he's doing well.
Right.
So the church emphasizes abstinence. That if you are not married, please abstain. People have raised all sorts of difficulties with this. That the church.
I mean, it's a moral high ground, and so they will stay with the fact that abstinence is the best. Be careful.
They, as in the church?
The church.
Yes.
The church will. But I'm also thinking.
But do you know that if young people are engaged, if young people are engaged constructively, they tend not to think about sex. Is this something we can all agree on? That you have a group of young people, put them through a certain rigor. Let them, so they wake up in the morning, their time is very well managed. There's an activity at every point. There's an assignment at every point. They are busy thinking about the activity and the assignment. They can go on and on and on without the temptation of sex. So if you are not married, then you are not thinking about it. That temptation to want to do it is not there. So I want to believe that the church also looks at the kind of activity that can be designed to help young people, not just to say that young people abstain from premarital sex and then leave you there. It is expected that you would have been engaged in certain line of activities or habits that would then push you, encourage you, motivate you, and keep you on that strict discipline. It go hard. In these times, it hard, but yeah.
I'm just thinking on regimented living, which you speak to, regimented in terms of persons being given activities and tasks amongst many other things. That could work because when you were talking, I tried to go back into senior high school boarding days, right, where between the ages of 15 to 18 years. Ordinarily, you'll be in senior high school. If you are in the boarding house, you wake up at dawn, you take your bath, you're going to class. After class, there's a first break. You're supposed to be you should be in the dining hall for breakfast. You go back to class. You return for lunch. You close the siesta. After which you have some activities which you can be engaged in and the likes. And I asked myself, did that prevent young people from thinking about sex? Because these are hormonal changes between those times. And so naturally, it's going to come. There should be, as much as we are giving them activities to engage in, there will also be that tendency that once it is hormones at play, there will be the need for conversations.
There's that natural edge.
Exactly. There will be the need for conversations to be had. And then there will be the advice of, I think sometimes the fear is that when you say that, if you feel you cannot do anything about it, then use condom. We should not be telling them if you feel you cannot do anything about it. We should, but there is always that other aspect that some will engage in it, and so it's best if you talk to them about it.
But I think maybe we should also correct ourselves.
Protection.
It's not necessarily that even with that rigor of programming that you will not at all be thinking about sex. You will think about it, but part of that should be that even the conversations about sex should be held in a very healthy and informative space and manner. so that you don't just have your boys telling you, oh, Charlie, I tried it, it's sweet, oh, then you too, you want to try. But that whoever is talking to you about sex knows what he is talking about, knows how to guide you. These days I hear it is a shame to call yourself a virgin. That is what I hear.
I'll pause your thoughts there, because we've been joined by LCI. She is the immediate national past president of the network of persons living with HIV and AIDS, as we talk conversation on AIDS and then the decline in condom usage as well. Madam, thank you very much for joining us this morning here on the 3FM Sunrise.
Good morning, and thank you too for the opportunity to be part of this discussion.
We've just been going through the numbers. We went through that a lot earlier in the morning during our news review segments, but we're picking up on the conversation because of the concern and the fear as well in the decline in the use of condoms generally. Let's start first off with the numbers as was reported yesterday by the National Control Program on HIV. Over 15,000 persons for the year 2024. In your estimation, is there a lagging behind in ending the spread of the virus?
Thank you very much for this question and for the concern. Yes, we have stopped giving education about HIV. I listened to some yesterday when the World AIDS Day was being launched, and I also heard from the National AIDS Control Program that yes, in the early years there was a lot of information, there was a lot of education on prevention. But as we moved ahead, into treatments and seeing the success, we were now encouraging people to go for treatment and then stay on treatment. And then we're now talking about U is equal to U, undetectable is equal to untransmissible. And we have left prevention behind. I think that is very true. So I think that's one of the reasons. But for the seemingly lack of information on condom use or on prevention, so I think that is the issue. And again, we tend to focus more on what maybe it's our planning, but we tend to focus more on what funds are provided for, instead of the need. Do we look at the needs also in the country, especially focusing on the young people? We leave them behind. Let me step back a bit and look at the basis for us even having the information. I think information should be given throughout, starting from homes and schools and in churches. That information about sex education, let's go back to it. What are we talking about condoms if it's not to prevent pregnancy and that indulging in sex, protection? That information hasn't taken place. It's not going the way it should. And everyone is involved. Everyone is responsible, from the home, in school, and in the church. That is not happening. So if that is not happening, then we are not giving the information right from the beginning to young people. So, yeah, I heard about when they get to adolescents, the sexual urges and all that. That is happening, but the information should be given before that. It has not been happening. And I think we need to go back and take responsibility, all of us. Nobody should put blame on whoever. It's too late. Everything starts from home. The education, the training, everything starts from the home, from homes, continues in schools, and then churches. So the question is, how well prepared are parents to take up that responsibility? How well prepared are the schools to take up that responsibility? How well prepared is the church? And what policies do we have in place to also enable that to happen? I mean, if we go through all this, we see there are gaps and certain things don't align. I think we should sit, all of us. I mean, it's something we need to come together, collaborate, and fill in the gaps, make those corrections before we can move ahead. At the stage where we are, we have to go back to the drawing board and bring all of us on board to work on this issue.
Who should be leading this charge? Because the last you hear of any conversation in relation to HIV is when there are new numbers which is released. It scares people for a while, and then it all dies down. You see on social media people mention, "Hey, be careful, within the week in which the report is released and the numbers come out, depending on how many people get infected with the virus, and then after a week or two that dies down. Nobody hears anything again in relation to this. Parents are not doing what you're asking in terms of starting the conversations. Young persons are not taking precautions as they should, and then we wait again for another year, and then we come back to the same conversation.
The timing is right. The fact that we're giving those figures is right, because we are being told this is what happened in 2024. What are we going to put in place to ensure that when we come up with the statistics in 2026, it will be different? It is within this period that the figures act as an eye-opener for us to take action, and that is where I'm coming from. This is the fact. We have to change it. How do we go about it? That is what I was trying to address. We are not doing this. We have to go back to it. How are we going to do that? That is a question we have to throw back to ourselves and answer. That is where I'm coming from.
And even as we proceed on this front, the AIDS Commission, the National AIDS Control Program, important institutions, and then your grouping as well, the National Association of Persons Living with HIV. There's been the concern and conversations about budgetary funding, and earlier this year, when aid was frozen by the Trump administration, I recall having conversations with you in the past about what this could mean for our fight against HIV and the likes. Are we continuing to see the stranglehold of financial challenges cripple this fight in eradicating HIV completely?
We are talking about budget cuts and all those things, and I am talking about homes. Do we need budgets to start doing that education in home? The children are already in school. That budget doesn't affect the information that is shared in school. Persons living with HIV, we have our own issues. We have our own issues of internalized stigma, which doesn't even allow us to wants to let people know that we are positive. That prevents us sometimes from not even staying on medication, because we don't want people to see us or to know to see us going to the medical. That's all those. But the budget cut doesn't have anything to do. It has nothing, no link with us being willing to start this education, starting it from home. And the radio stations, you are the ones who should start doing that sensitization. Everybody listens to the radio. And you start telling parents that it's not because of budget cuts, it's because of their priorities. And it is their life, and we are all responsible. Me, I'm a grandparent now, and my grandchildren are all my responsibility to ensure that they hear these things. Parents, all of us. So I think we should go and start from the beginning. And the radio stations, you have a big role to play. You speak all the languages. And at all times, you are there on air. And that is how I feel that we should start. We should take the bull by the horns and start with the right information. And that is where we can also come in to share from our experiences. And, and then the Ministry of Education Service also have their issues about that sort of information. But we can't joke with our children's lives. So I think that you, the radio stations, you are the ones to start pushing, putting pressure on schools, education service, and parents.
Right. I think I'll clarify. For us here at the radio station, we'll continue to advocate and preach for safe sex, amongst many other things. I was just graduating the conversation from the education bit for the young persons and now moving as well to persons living with HIV as well, and what the concerns in terms of treatment and the likes have been vis-a-vis the fears which we had at the start of the year. That's the leg of the conversation I want us to enter into just briefly. Reason why I think perhaps there was a bit of a confusion. You thought I was still hammering on funds in relation to educating the upcoming generation. I'm asking right now as to what the status is in terms of treatment for persons living with HIV. Have we seen an improvement? And the fears we had at the start of the year, has it died down now that there's a constant stream in terms of medication? I've heard you mention stigma proving a difficulty, and we saw that come up as well when the report was issued yesterday.
Yes, we persons living with HIV who know their status are put on treatment. And if they value their lives, and I think we do, we should remain on treatment. But there are so many issues that people may face, persons living with HIV may face. Stigma is one of them. Okay. But then once we take our treatment, I think, because we are all different, and I don't know what situation makes people, apart from stigma, make them not remain on treatment, because that is, it's our life. And those medications are available to keep us alive and to keep us from transmitting HIV to anyone else. So once we remain on treatment consistently, the possibility of transmitting HIV to anybody else is reduced.
Stigma is a big thing.
That's information. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, so the internalized stigma is something we haven't worked on, because people tend to look on internalized stigma as a mental health issue. When you say mental health, then it looks medical. But it's not that you are crazy or whatever. It is our perceptions, the way we view ourselves and value ourselves. When we hear what people have said about persons living with HIV, wrong information, all those misconceptions and all that, we tend to internalize it.
Right.
So the way we have internalized those wrong information, those wrong perceptions, we also have to work on it. There is a process that we have tried in NAPLAS. In fact, we tried it with mothers of HIV-exposed babies. And we worked, and within the few days we were together, we were able to work on our, see that nobody gave that internalized stigma to us, but we, from the wrong information outside there, we have taken up that information. Once you are HIV positive, your life is gone, you are weak, you can't work, you can't have children, you can't get married. You know, all those things people would know, you know, all those things. And that is also information that needs to be corrected, wrong information, wrong concept, the misconceptions that have to be corrected. Right. And you're almost hearing me falling back on you. But those are the things. So when we have those thoughts, we believe those things, nobody or nothing seems to be correcting it. We keep it. We take it and you just say, look, I'm fed up. See, we get fed up taking the medication. We get fed up taking the medication. And then once we haven't dealt with that internalized stigma, we still have it in mind that we would die. We wouldn't be able to enjoy life as normally as anyone else. Then you just tend to give up and not take the pills so that you can keep alive and not infect more people. So the internalized stigma is a key thing. And we who are living with HIV are saying that it is internalized stigma. That is the greatest issue.
Right.
But then others are telling us, oh, it is external stigma, those who stigmatize and discriminate. You know, let us also speak. Let's
your voices be heard on these matters as well.
Let's hear us and take what we are saying as being the truth, being the right thing. Because once I have dealt with mine, I don't care what anybody says about me. Because it is me. I know myself and I trust myself, and I know that once I take my medication and all that, everything will be fine. But how many people have received that information? How many people have been guided to understand that? So that is a point that is an area where we haven't looked at all. I think that is an area, I know that is an area that has to be worked on. We've tried them also with young people, young PLHIVs. We've tried it also with young sex workers. We've tried, people have gone to different countries and done the same thing with people in Rwanda, in Thailand, and all that, with the same results. They came out of there. They realized that they were human beings and they have a right to life and everything. Right. And they put on pulled their boots on, tied their boots, and then continued living their lives the correct way. So I think we shouldn't joke. We shouldn't just look down on it, set it aside, and say it's just internalized stigma. It is something that we need to work on, and it doesn't take much.
To have that done. I appreciate you joining us this morning, Madam Aye. Thank you very much for speaking to us. That's Elsie Aye. She's the immediate national past president of the Network of Persons Living with HIV and AIDS, speaking to us. Well, getting on to the other telephone line, Dr. Fred Nanapuku is the Director for Technical Services at the Ghana AIDS Commission. Doc, good morning to you. I trust that you're well.
Good morning, sir. Yes, we're doing well, by grace.
Fantastic. Yesterday, you had cause to release the numbers in terms of HIV infection status with respect to HIV for the year 2024. Walk us through it again. Are we seeing a trajectory in the upwards direction, even before we get into the other related matters from that address yesterday?
Yes, so we still having high numbers of new infections annually, which is not a good thing. In 2024, the new infections stood over 12,290, with about 31% of those new infections occurring in the youth age bracket, 15 to 24 years. This is quite alarming, and we want to stem that tide, because we had decided and we made up our mind and target to reduce new infections by 85% by the end of 2025. And 2025 is just ending, and we haven't done that. So it is something that is a cause for alarm for us.
And then amongst this youthful population, you say 30%. Where is the rest spread across in terms of the infections?
It's across all age categories, but about 30% in the youth bracket.
We're seeing the huge chunk from the youth bracket.
Yes, please. 15 to 24 years. And then also, we having mother-to-child transmission also contributing about 1,243 infections last year, which is also not a good thing.
It's a very preventable.
We're having a lot of mothers attending ANC and accessing the services. There is a gap in that people are defaulting in taking their medications. They are not following the protocols as it is. They are doing mixed feeding for their babies, and therefore this transmission from mother to child is still occurring in Ghana, which is a point where we can easily apply techniques and then have zero infection from mother to child. So that is another cause for alarm. And in general, the new infections occurring, most of it are in the female. About 2/3 occurs in women.
Of all the infections, the 12,000 plus, 2/3 was in the females?
Yes, please. So we're having about 67% of new infections occurring in women and the rest in males. So women are disproportionately affected by HIV. So we're asking them to insist on the use of condom when they are engaging in sexual acts. We are asking them to attend ANC when they are pregnant and adhere to the protocols that will help them not transmit to their babies. And then we are also asking the men to support their women and their ladies, the couples, when they get pregnant and to access antenatal and PMTCT services.
Let's zero in now on the youthful population and what you stated as worrying, the growing trend from there. You've identified it and you say you're seeking to stem this. Closely tied to this, I recall some weeks ago has been concerns raised about a drop in the use of condoms amongst young people. Would you say there's a direct correlation between that drop and the numbers we're seeing right now?
Yes. It is so, though I have not really done research in recent times, but it is known that condoms are one of the most effective way of preventing HIV transmission. They are very effective when they are used correctly and consistently. But the problem that we're having is that people don't use condoms. There is a dip in the use of condoms from the Ghana Demographic and Health Survey report that was done and released 2022 report. Whilst there is increase in risky behavior among all categories, but especially the youth. People are engaging in sex without any precautions. Non-cohabiting partners, not married, any risky behavior, hookups is occurring, and they are not using the condoms. Though we know condoms are number one. We know that there are other new techniques that have come on board, such as the use of PrEP, which has been around for some time, but more effective ones such as lenacapavir and other products are currently in town, not in Ghana yet, but we're looking at how best they can be made available in the system. But again, at least what we have and what we know all these years has been the correct and consistent use of condoms. But we are not using it. It's a simple thing,
right?
But people give so many reasons for not using, which is not really justified, if I may say so.
The reasons why they are not using the condoms. What are some of the reasons they've been given?
Some say it decreases the sensitivity of the act. Some say you can, I literally say you can eat a toffee with the cover on it, etc., etc. Some say some even talk about the cost, which, if you have to protect yourself by spending 5 cedis or 10 cedis, and some are even free. The no logo condoms that we distribute, the program condoms are free. If you have to protect yourself from having a disease that is for life currently, there is no specific treatment. You're taking medications. I think Elsie also was on the line.
Raising the concern about internal stigma.
Taking the medication every day, and you can prevent that by using condoms that you can access freely or just for 5 cedis. Meanwhile, people use a lot of money for other things, alcohol and other unnecessary quotes. It might be necessary to somebody, but the point I'm making is you have to protect your health. Health is very important.
Right.
So it's very necessary that we strive to
protect ourselves. You're seeking to make an intervention that you're going to be rolling out condom dispensing machines at vantage points to encourage the use of. Help us understand this dispensing machine and these vantage points. What's the plan to have a lot more young persons get on to use it? Because we've been having a conversation around the table, and there's a concern of people being shy, or not wanting to step out and being able to buy some, and even in areas where these vending machines are placed, people still don't want to be seen having to take condoms from the machine. Is that all coming together in the thinking as what we're seeking to roll out this vending machine strategy?
Yes. So the vending machine strategy is not something new. It has been done before. I think about 5-8 years ago we started that, but could not be sustained. And what we initially had also had its own mechanical challenges, because it was a little robust, and then it was more mechanical. I mean, like a lot of energy. It was not automated. So what we're trying to do is to try and increase the non-traditional way of accessibility to condoms. Currently, we know you have to get condoms from the pharmacy shops, and as you rightly said, people are shy. People become, in our environment, our culture does not allow that. Even ladies are not supposed to have access or hold such commodities, which is culturally not acceptable in our settings. So we thinking through and all that, we're looking at how best to increase the non-traditional outlets of accessing the condoms and other issues. So the thought had been done, concept had been written, but we require funding. You know, we talked about the financial gaps and current trends of global shortages in financial aspects of the response. So that is what it is. But our concept is to ensure that public places, schools, universities, etc., marketplaces, places of convening of people, even sports stadia and other places, could have these vending machines. The pilot that was done was quite successful. Hotspots where we have sex workers and others will have those machines. But as I said, it is in the pipeline. We have done some analysis. What we want, we know the cost involved, but now we have to get some funding. So you could help us as media and other people to ensure that the AIDS fund is well established and funds are made available into it. Advocacy is all needed so that there's a lot that can be done. I mean, all the plans are there. But, you know,
I hear you on the plans. Just a final question. The fund constraint exists in rolling out some of these proposals, but there's a concern or a question coming through that you've not been able to actualize the National HIV and AIDS Fund since 2016 when it was announced. That could help deal with the challenge.
Yes, we've not been. There were attempts to launch it. We know it exists. We have designed a short code for people to donate, but nothing has really come in, because we've also, and even if you want to get money, you need to get money to invest. It's a way of investment, and we have not had even the initial push to invest in that line. So yes, it is in the act, our current act, to establish the fund, and we are yet to get commitment from the private sector, from government, and from philanthropists to ensure that the AIDS fund is established and populated with something, and then we can invest some of the money, and then the returns are used in doing all the good work that we want to do.
And so this is a part of your plans that you're seeking to rule out, how soon would you do that for your own self? I hear you on it exists in the Act and all of that, but the funding continues to be a challenge. Is there a challenge in rolling it out as well?
Yes. So the advocacy continues. We keep on advocating. We've done a sustainability plan. It captures some of the things we need to do to ensure that the fund becomes active. We have other strategies that we have outlined in the sustainability plan, integration of some of the services, and etc. So we will keep at it, and we are hopeful that pretty shortly we will see the light of day.
Right then, Doc, I'm sure we can leave the conversation. We'll come back to you, but I'll just respectfully ask that you hold on. My production team will want to engage you further on this particular subject matter so that you can take a listen to them as well. And that's Dr. Fred Nana Poku is the Director for Technical Services at the Ghana AIDS Commission, speaking to us this morning here on the 3FM Sunrise. So the conversation about condom usage, I mean, it all started from HIV and the spread. This was one of the songs which was released when the virus became very, very popular in the early 90s and 2000s. It was a huge campaign. A lot of that has died down now. We're hearing that the infection continues to increase. There was a target of 2025 seeking to drastically reduce the numbers. That's not happened. But lots of young people as well are choosing not to use protection. That is contributing as well to the spread.
3FM Sunrise. And yeah, but we are now with them in time. Me no one come and say, oh, mess up you. No me didn't hold them take that I'm on for much of you. You're in a boa, off a war. Niti, I know, pop, my drum, but anything. I'm a smart nip him. Me, my demo, Magabu, Mawaka, Dolala Halaga, Baba Ace, Namanya, a Kukuga, and your Chicago, Yanya Dam Dago, Namajiba Yakodo Yala, Lamadeka, Adonazanu Yoyanaba, Condom La, Nasila Doya Wunanako, in Chifafa, Nanapa Dukona no Jim, Kabakaba, Cho, Kabakaba, Kabakaba, Masada Kumuke, Zamumuku, Gargadi, the one the Mugun Chiwo HIV, Kekatewa, the Baba, Dama, Wallahi Kunjiko, one that you want HIV, Wallahi, Bashina Chow, one and Gargadi, friction, Yerebuto, Kokaki, Kokaso, Wallahi, Mumfada.
It is real, my friend. You give me to one another. That's the bar I come to want you. It's not home, it's not here. But I'm
We're going for a quick break, but before we do that, I want to talk to you about the Luckiest Africa because the season of winning is here again.
It's all about the AIDS. You want me to now. Don't forget about your condom. On your friend the rubber socks. You know you are. I'm not telling you.
My lord, yes, if you have a check of recognize. 12 years, you never come live in a paradise. 1 hour years make them skin freeze like ice. Natural robbers make you die like flowers. Mothers and women, them a die like houseflies. Don't you simply take and recognize. And just think twice again. My lord.
Well, we'll just take a listen as well to this caller. It was a caller that came through who was explaining why persons could not get condoms readily and easily. Here's what he shared with us, and then we'll go for a quick spot of commercials. Try and do this for us in a minute.
Ranger. I'm calling from Bema Camp.
Ranger and Bema Camp, thank you for calling as well. Let's hear you quickly.
My concern is about the condom issue. You know, I think the AIDS Commission should blame the pharmacists, the pharmaceutical companies, especially where you enter a drugstore to buy a condom, and they will pack a lot of beautiful ladies in front of the front desk. You enter there, you are confused, you don't know what to do. Instead of mentioning you want condom, you end up buying something that you don't need it to buy.
Oh, my
so
boss.
now young guys don't go there to buy it again.
My boss.
And where ladies too don't buy condom, it is the men who buy condom. So they should better employ more men than the women. So young guys don't go to buy condom again. I was at Osu, I wanted to buy a condom. When I got there, the ladies at the desk were all nice girls. And all young girls. When I mentioned condom, they look at my face. So I look at them, I ask them, why? Is it a crime for a man to buy a condom? Or when you buy a condom, you become a sinner or a bad person? Then they are quiet. I say, you see, this is what deter guys from buying condom. I want to know whether is condom a part of contraceptive? I'm a married man. I can buy a condom based on my personal reason to use it with my wife. Because condom is part of contraceptive. But we have a wrong perception. When any young guy or any person enter a drugstore to buy a condom, you see the young girl there, look at the person to be with different perception.
Try and do this for us in a minute. That's Ranger. Ranger, he shared his thoughts with us with respect to condom purchases and Ranger, thank you for calling as well and for sharing this thought with us. Very, very important point he makes, and something Crosby from your mannerisms suggests you back and support strongly.
Since somebody went to buy a condom, you got the ladies were there. He said he's buying bandage.
Because we get story for days. The condom tend to bandage.
He wants to buy a condom. So he entered now, he shakes more. You see the people, he greet them. He say, batch of day. Bandage.
But do you realize Crosby has turned all his experiences into jokes?
I knew you were going to say that. I actually knew you were going to say that. That someone has turned their experience into jokes, and it's finding
no, but boys should develop code words for condom, so that if you enter
at that time, people were saying, "We talk a rubber, we talk CD, we talk protection." And CD is popular.
CD is popular, yeah. So everybody will still know that it is condom.
And then these times too, the pharmacists, they have developed a strategy. You know where they keep it, so you go, you don't say, you point. You go.
Where is it? Where do they place it?
Oh, so usually if you enter the pharmacy, around where they dispense the drugs now.
Wait. Abian say it be true.
You're mentioning something. You never say I'm saying it is true. Somebody is saying it is true.
Abian is the one saying it is true.
You enter the pharmacy now, you go close to the counter. Don't talk. Just point
where the cashier is.
Where the cashier
but there will be somebody there paying for his or her items.
Don't talk. Just go.
Do this.
You point it to the thing. And then they don't mix them. You see, they are different.
We need to have a conversation so that you can show the younger generation the strategies with which.
This one you go say you are looking for granules.
You sell granules at the pharmacy.
So if you tell the attendant that you want granules or toffee,
you point.
They sell toffee at the pharmacy.
Yeah, I think these days the pharmacies makes a lot of sweets.
Oh, so if you say toffee, you go conf them.
You might confuse them. Sixers is bringing a lot of the terminologies from back in the days. These days you can't use toffee again because when you enter the place, they will catch you. You have to redirect and point to something else. Anyways, but important conversation that we've had this morning, and from all of the experts as well. Most certainly, education needs to stem somewhat. The churches will have to come through at some point. in all of this, and beyond preaching abstinence at homes, beyond preaching abstinence, we should be showing the kids as well that, look, carry this along. Yes, and I'll make the point again that there's a concern that why should I be giving you the condom to show you that you should be using it instead of going unprotected? But let's look at it in two ways, right? If you don't give it to the person or you don't talk to the person about it and they go and engage in it, the repercussions will come back to bite you anyways. Teaching them about it and pointing them in the direction they can go if they opted not to abstain, I'm sure will come around and help all of us is what we're all saying.
I think even the proper use of condom, it's another conversation.
That
a lot
we
of
need to
people,
have.
yes, how to is it wrap it or insert it? No, it's
To
not.
wear it properly.
To wear it.
For the guys and then for the women as well.
Crosby's in another realm.
All right, I'll go for these quick spots of commercials, but let me talk to you about
you to relax, relax, give Crosby. Crosby.
So you know that some time ago, I mean, I was part of an AIDS advocacy group, and then they were teaching us how to teach people how to use the condom, and they're advising that for the male condom, for instance, you don't use your teeth to tear. So you see the condom pack, there's a part that is rough. There's an edge that is rough, zigzag, and there's an edge that is smooth. So you tear from the zigzag part. It is easier if you're tearing from. Don't use your teeth. If you use your teeth, you bite into the rubber, and then you get what you're preventing. You will not be able to prevent it.
Very important conversations from the both of you experts in this field, and we'll get that one is very deliberate, very deliberate. Experts in the field for sharing, and we'll be doing a lot more of this in terms of public advocacy and all of that. But let me talk to you about the luckiest quickly. Pick up your phone, dial *712#, choose option 1 to buy a ticket for yourself or option 2 to buy for somebody else. And if you want the system to generate a lucky ticket for you, go with option 1 again. But if you prefer to choose your own ticket number, that's option 2. Confirm your payment with Momo and you're in. The online way, head to theluckiestafrica.com and then register. You need to register first off. After your registration and you own an account, then you can tap on community tickets to either pick your own ticket or you let the system choose a ticket for you. Then there's the option as well to buy for somebody else as well. When it's time to pay, you use Momo if you're in Ghana, or you use your card if you're outside of the country, and then one ticket can multiply your money 500 times and over. Your entire community could win 10 times over. It's a season of winning. This is your golden chance. Hop on, let's get lucky together, because luck is everywhere. This quick spot of commercial, when we return, we're in Parliament because yesterday there were quite a number of comments on the floor of the House in relation to the attack on NIMAS. We'll hear from them. Then we'll connect with some experts on the speaker's commentary as well, and then the guys will have their thoughts as well. And then you as well, you share your thoughts with us on our respective social media handles. But we're back after these. to Parliament now, because like we've been mentioning, the Speaker, the Majority Leader, the Minority Leader, they all had thoughts to share on the subject matters we have been discussing for quite a while in relation to NIMOS and its operation, and they being attacked, accosted, had to take police intervention to have them brought out of where it is that they were at. We'll go in and take a listen to the Speaker, the Majority Leader, and then the Minority Leader. Then when we return, we'll try and subject this to a bit more, because there's quite a number of issues that have emerged from that. And then as well, the court processes which took place yesterday, bail which was granted to the Member of Parliament, and some other matters.
When we commenced this meeting on the 21st of October 2025, I had cause to remind members about the need for comportment and my intention to ensure strict compliance with the 1992 Constitution and the standing orders of Parliament. While honorable members are granted severe and several privileges and immunities, which serve as procedural guards, in fact safeguards. These are intended to assist members to undertake their duties and not expected to be a basis for members to be shielded from the effect of alleged unlawful actions. The report of attacks on the team from the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, a task force which we all know has been established to combat illegal mining activities in the country, is most worrying. Also worrying is the fact that the attack was allegedly incited by one of our own, the Member of Parliament for Asitwifi North constituency, to provide all the needed support to the investigation by the Ghana Police Service within the framework of the 1992 Constitution, the laws of this country, and the standing orders of the House. I am made to understand that the member has voluntarily submitted himself to a criminal investigation department of Ghana Police to assist in the investigation, as many members have done in other cases under investigation. In fact, there are so many members of Parliament that are under investigation, and my office has never shielded any member of Parliament, and many have volunteered themselves without coming through my office. And so please, let it not be said anywhere that members of Parliament are being shielded from the rule of law. Not at all. I have the copies and the list of the members involved. So while I commend this action of the member, I want to urge the Ghana Police Service to ensure that at all material times, the privileges and immunities of members, especially when the House is in session, are adhered to. It's for good reason that even if you are in the position to deal with a law enforcement officer, you cannot do that, because that law enforcement officer represents the law and the country. And if you attempt to resist or even to lay hands on that officer, you are dealt with ruthlessly. So they also have privileges and immunities. So it is for members of parliament too. But this is not to shield any member from the full impact of the rule of law. And I want it to be made clear once more that these privileges are not absolute.
92.7 Sunrise.
They must be exercised responsibility and in accordance, starting with the minority leader.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I listened to you carefully, and I thought what I heard was a formal communication on the question of the privileges of members of parliament. And I am hoping that our brief comments would focus on the question of privileges. I think what I heard you say is that you will not shield any member of this house when they are alleged to have committed offenses and the law enforcement agencies are seeking to investigate and establish whether indeed a crime has been committed for the purposes of being prosecuted or held accountable in any other form, shape, or manner. And you zeroed in on the specific instance of the alleged attack on the anti-Galamsey task force. We all heard in the media that there was an attack on an anti-Galamsey task force in Esutufi South, and I later got some indication that a member on this side of the house is alleged to have instigated some community members to resist the work of the task force. Mr. Speaker, let me indicate that yesterday I got a call from the Minister for the Interior, Honorable Muntaka, that the IGP needed the member for interrogation. I invited the member, he came to my office, and I was trying to reach Muntaka, I couldn't reach him, so ultimately I had to ask the member to go. If I reach Muntaka, I will call him back. Subsequently, Honorable Muntaka called me back. He was in a meeting when I was calling him. And I told him that I had invited the MP. He was ready to come see whoever he should see, but because we did not hear from him, I had dismissed him. So we scheduled that this morning the member should be sent to the CID headquarters to meet with one of the deputy CID directors for processing. And so this morning he went with our majority chief whip and his lawyer. They received him at CID headquarters, took him through the processes, and I received a call not quite long ago that he has been taken to court, and as we speak, he is actually in court being arraigned. And so let me also indicate that as members of parliament, we do not consider ourselves being above the law, that we are always ready to be held accountable for our actions and inactions. We passed the law establishing the law enforcement agencies. We approve the appropriations to finance them to carry out these assignments that we have assigned them. And we pass the laws defining the crimes, and also we invite them to this house, and we often try to hold them accountable for the extent to which they are enforcing the law. So we as members of parliament will not in any way, I believe, go out of our way deliberately to hamper the law enforcement agencies in the discharge of their duties. And I believe, I speak for all my colleagues, that at any time when any of us is alleged to have committed an offense, we will own up and we will be ready to defend ourselves and establish our innocence. And so, Mr. Speaker, just to assure you that MPs will do well to conduct themselves and Mr. Speaker, we will not be calling on you to shield us in any way. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, what I know is that the honorable member has flatly denied the allegations made of he instigating some community members against the law enforcement agencies, the military and the police. And I also got a call from the senior member that you alluded to, Honorable Collins Dauda. He called me from South Africa, and indeed he was very surprised because it happened in his constituency, and he was very surprised about the report that the media has put out there about what really happened. He was also of the firm belief that the report that he received is consistent with the claims being made by the Honorable Member of Parliament that he never instigated members of the communities against the law enforcement agencies.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, democracy provides that the actors must have an opportunity to politic, do politics, share ideas, and have their views, disagree and agree. It is, however, part of democracy also for the core issues of national discourse to be agreed upon by the active stakeholders in this process. Mr. Speaker, the matter you've just raised, Galamsey, is one thing that, for the want of a better word, I must say that we as political leaders, active stakeholders of this democracy, have failed. And I say so without mincing words. We must, as political actors, know that there are matters that we have to agree upon and nip it in the bud. My recent recollection of this matter dates me back to 2015 as a young member of the Finance Committee. Honorable Setepe, Minister of Finance, as he then was, appeared before us and lamented how Galamsey was affecting cocoa production. But did the nation listen to him? Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo put his presidency on the line. Don't go there. You may have to listen. This is an important matter. This is how committed the president was on this matter. But again, we, as the actors, were looking at the political convenience and the gains. That is why we are where we are. We are where we are. I was once upon a time the chair of Ghana Water. I saw data for myself, how the country was losing money heavily to treat water because of Galamsey. It is getting worse. Civil society is talking. Organized labor is talking. Religious leaders are talking. But they know that in us is a vested authority, the people's representatives. Mr. Speaker, can we,
as political leaders, for once, agree to stay the partisan approach on this matter and deal with it and let our citizens know that this is a matter that affects the country and our own livelihoods. Perhaps the medical practitioners are not sharing with us the revealing reports in the various hospitals enough. So it's like business as usual. Mr. Speaker, I would wait for another day where we would discuss this matter in detail. But I would, by way of conclusion, say that
is on 92.7.
the issue of Galamsey calls for action, collective, not an NDC MPP affair, but a Ghana affair, so that it doesn't become like who you go to the area the people are mining, and then you say, oh, because you may lose election, you don't want to talk about it, or they will even push you to be lawless.
That's Alexander Penyomakin. He is the minority leader. Before him was the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, as well as the first speaker being the Speaker of Parliament, the Honourable Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagbin. Christian Yale is on the telephone lines with us. He's a parliamentary affairs correspondent, because outside of this which happened, the speaker as well was engaged in an editors forum where he made quite a number of revelations. We're boxing it all together for you this morning here on the 3FM Center. Christian, the speaker had quite a lot to say as well, but perhaps let's start off from this conversation. I don't want to call it a debate. This conversation on the floor of the House involving the Sutifin North Member of Parliament. Did the conversation move beyond the three to other members of Parliament? What is the sentiment and mood like in Parliament following this development involving the Sutifin North Member of Parliament?
Eric, on the floor yesterday, beyond the Speaker, the Majority Leader and the Minority Leader, directly we did not get other members to react, also because the Speaker had made a formal communication, and so after that it is expected that leadership would just have some bite and react to the communication by the Speaker. But largely, when he asked me about the mood in Parliament concerning Galamsey and concerning that alleged attack on the Nine-Month team, which involves those two twin MPs, I mean Asutifi North and Asutifi South MPs, Collins Dauda and Ebenezer Addo. It is one of a major concern, also because before the chamber would say it, we had the Deputy Lands Minister appear before the Public Accounts Committee yesterday in the morning and even speak about some concessions that were wrongly granted to some individuals to mine in unapproved areas across the country, and even spoke about revoked licenses and the rest of them. It means that the conversation had even started earlier before Chamber would sit around 3 p.m. yesterday. But when he talked to MPs, and as always, it is a major concern to them as well, because when you ask, it is what many have termed as an ecological time bomb that the country sits on right now. And from both divides, it is one that requires immediate action. And so yesterday, the Majority Leader, Mahama Ayariga, had made that indication that, see, after the invitation from the police CID, the MP voluntarily tendered himself in to be interrogated, after which he proceeded to go to court, and we know later he was granted that 150,000 cedis bail with one surety to be justified. And so MPs in and of themselves are ready, and they always champion that conversation about it being tackled head on. And the Speaker makes that case that in as much as MPs enjoy some privileges and immunities, they should know that it has some limits. But he has also asked the police that, especially when Parliament is in session, they should ensure that they respect all immunities and privileges of MPs, even though he wouldn't shield any of them from being interrogated, as in the case of Ebenezer Kwekwadjo, the Esutifi North MP. So that is, by and large, the conversation that Parliament is troubled and is worried about this menace of Galamsey, Eric.
And it's important you mention Parliament is troubled and Parliament is worried, because tied in some way to this is developments that have occurred in the legislature in the past, some not so far away as early as the first quarter of this year, having to do with the vetting committee and its resultant disruptions. Investigative committee was set up, and a 7-member ad hoc committee. We know it was fraught with challenges when the minority said they were not going to be a part of it, and what have you. Have we been able to return to a place where there is clarity? Because I know you on your part has been seeking to ask questions in the House as to why the outcome of that work done has not been brought to the plenary.
Because then, Eric, you know that even in the latter part of the last sitting, which was the second sitting this year, that report was ready. And yesterday, the editors forum that you mentioned, that involved the Speaker and leadership from both sides, the Speaker had also mentioned the report was ready, even the last sitting, and was advertised several times, yet there was no attempt to adopt the report and have the recommendations thereof even considered, and even the findings, just so we know which of the MPs are, culprits of the wrongdoings that, marred the reputation of Parliament. Over the period, we've had members of Parliament like Emmanuel Kwesi Bedra of Ho West, for instance, even question the delay by Parliament itself in adopting or considering or taking that report from the vetting chaos. Indeed, we've had members of Parliament, and I had some live interactions in recent times with some members from opposition who sought to even blame members from the majority for smuggling in SAG to foment those chaotic scenes. But Eric, yesterday during the Speaker's Editors Forum, that question was asked by our very own Johnny Hughes, who even said if Speaker does not tackle that issue and deal with it, it will be a gallant of shame, if I should quote him exactly or verbatim. And Speaker tells us that, see, yes, the ad hoc committee that was set up to investigate this has finished its work and has submitted its report with recommendation. However, you would recall, Eric, that the Speaker had made a number of referrals to the police, for instance, had asked the clerk to write to the police and the security agencies to also investigate the criminal aspects of that. And he tells us yesterday that the police is yet to submit its report. And he, the Speaker, is awaiting that report from the police, plus a number of considerations that he needs to get before he can act and decide the way forward. And it is very problematic indeed when you ask a lot of parliamentary watchers that how long is it going to take? This takes place right from the beginning of the year in January, and as of now, we are in the 11th month of the year, and no aggressive action has been taken to tackle this and even to uproot the evil. Eric, tied to even this is, you remember the 7th January 2021 election of the Speaker and that chaos as well, where we even witnessed some soldiers enter the chamber and engage in all sorts of scuffle and fisticuffs. He tells us again yesterday that he decided not to, more or less, sanction a parliamentary probe into it for a national reason, for a good reason that is in the national or it's in the nation's interest. And he makes the case, our deputy GM for news, Mabel Akubanese, asked the question about did that issue from 7th January 2021, which is technically the 8th Parliament, die with the 8th Parliament? And he answers that yes, indeed, it has died with that Parliament, and now the 9th Parliament cannot investigate that, which is also very troubling indeed, because just like some would say, crime indeed does not have an expiry date. So if something of the sort happens, then we have every cause to investigate it and to get to the bottom of it, because the tendency of it repeating itself is high, especially when we do not have what we would call maybe a Parliamentary Transition Act or a law that guides how Parliament transitions from one Parliament to the other, like we have the presidential transition, where after election there is a team that sees to the successful handing over from one administration to the other. So all of those are really troubling, and it more or less dovetails into the belief by many that Speaker seems to be a bit reluctant in cracking the whip. Eric.
Speaker a bit reluctant in cracking the whip, but do we get a sense of when possibly this 7-member ad hoc committee would be laid on the floor, now that he says that it's been ready? He's essentially spoken to it, and the expectation is that it should be coming up on the floor of the House one of these days.
I would say that I don't expect it to be featured this time around, also because the focus largely is drifting towards the budget, which is to be read somewhere next week. And so, and this sitting largely is what they call the budget sitting, because of also relatively the short period of time within which they are to work. And you know that after the budget has been read, a lot of work goes into looking at the appropriations or the estimate for the various ministries, departments, and agencies before its passage, which would also result in long days of debate, really, from members of parliament from both sides, even before leadership of both sides would conclude the debate, then the passage of the appropriation bill. And by and large, that would take you into December thereabout. And so we do not have a fair idea whether that is even going to feature subsequently on the order paper within this sitting. But Eric, it is a big scar that still hangs on Parliament and across Africa, and especially when the Speaker is being elected to chair international parliamentary delegations, and when with this recent one of he joining a delegation to go mediate the Russia-Ukraine conflict, then it raises a question. And yesterday, when the Northern Caucus of Parliament had a meeting with the diplomatic corps and their development partners, one thing that the majority leader said was that, see, he has had a conversation with the Speaker, for instance, that before he moves to go to mediate the Russia-Ukraine conflict, he should look at his own backyard, especially in the northern Ghana, where you have sporadic conflict and, what you call dispute here and there. He should ensure that he resolves some of those ones and deals with his home issues before he transitions to go and look at elsewhere, which really is tied to all that we are talking about, that if even in Parliament we are not able to resolve some of these issues, for instance, when everything happens on camera and you can easily pinpoint and lay fingers at certain individuals, then we do not need to necessarily go through all of these bureaucratic, boundaries and all of those layers to be able to deal with persons. And you remember he had, suspended some 4 MPs, 3 from the minority side, 1 from the majority side. And even you had minority MPs clad in black demonstrating and protesting in Parliament and all of that, which eventually resulted in he saying that, okay, he has more or less forgiven those 4 MPs, and then they had the opportunity to come inside the chamber. So there are questions, really, if you ask me, and we cannot dissolve them until that report has been laid and we get to know the fact, who is liable for what, who is going to be sanctioned for what, and we see really some sanctions and disciplinary actions being taken against some of those MPs.
Christian, we'll leave it here. I'm sure we'll be on the lookout for a lot more that comes through from Parliament, but I appreciate you joining us, Christian.
Thank you, Eric.
That's Christian Yale, is my colleague in Parliament for us, our parliamentary affairs correspondent, bringing us 6 minutes to the top of the hour. We'll have to begin to wrap up. There's a big birthday today, one and only Francois today celebrating his birthday, and we will most definitely celebrate him as we wrap up on today's edition of the 3FM Sunrise. Happy birthday.